Let me tell you, if someone had told me that one day I'd be standing outside my house at 6 in the morning in a blizzard, mind you watching a silver Lexus SUV drift sideways down my county road like some lost Olympic ice dancer, I'd have laughed in their face. But there I was, coffee barely kicked in slippers, traded for boots, watching the whole disaster unfold in real time. And let me say this right up front. Sometimes the chaos you're running from has a way of catching up even when you think you've left it behind in a city 2 states over. The tires were squealing, that high pitched scream when rubber meets ice and both just give up. I remember thinking, well, at least it's not my truck. Next thing I know, the SUV jerks, overcorrects, then whips off the road and nosedives straight into the drainage ditch along my property line. I can't see much with the snow blowing sideways, but I can hear the engine revving like it's trying to punch a hole through the earth. So I do what any responsible adult would do, throw on my coat, mutter something unrepeatable about winter, and crunch out into the drifts, my boots filling up with snow in about 2 steps. The wind is howling, the kind that claws right through you, and I'm seriously wondering if this is how I go out hypothermia in my own front yard, trying to help someone who can't drive in the snow. As I get closer, I see the back tires just spinning uselessly. Whoever's in there is making it worse. Snow and mud flying everywhere. Then, through the haze, I see a flash of blonde hair and a pair of manicured hands white-knuckling the steering wheel. And my heart just drops. You ever get that sinking feeling when you realize the universe has a twisted sense of humor? Yeah, that. Patricia Whitmore, HOA president, self-appointed neighborhood overlord. Basically, the reason I don't bother bringing my trash cans in exactly on time anymore, because no matter what I do, she finds fault with it. She cracks the window face, pinched hair somehow still perfect. Fletcher, thank God you're here. You need to get me out of this ditch. Now. Just like that. No, please, no, are you okay? I blink snow out of my eyelashes and try to stay civil. Patricia, what are you doing out here? It's a blizzard. She shoots back that she was coming home from her sister's place, as if that explains everything, then tells me to stop asking dumb questions and just help her. Classic. So I look at the situation. That SUV's going nowhere, buried to the axles and listing sideways. I tell her, you need a tow truck. I can't pull you out. And good luck getting one in this weather. Most of the county shuts down at the first mention of blizzard. Patricia just waves that off like I'm being difficult. This is your fault anyway, she says, and I can't help myself. How exactly is you crashing your Lexus into my ditch my fault? She points at my snow-covered driveway with this look of pure outrage. HOA guidelines require all driveways and sidewalks to be cleared during winter weather events. If you'd shoveled, I wouldn't have lost control. I just about lose it. Patricia, the storm started 6 hours ago. Nobody's got a clear driveway. The county plows aren't even out yet. But that's Patricia. Everything is someone else's fault. She sent me more violation notices than I've had hot dinners trash cans out too long. Flowers the wrong color, you name it. So there we are. She refuses to leave the car. I refuse to agree. This is somehow on me. She rolls up the window, gets on her phone, probably documenting evidence for the HOA tribunal or whatever kangaroo court she's running. I stand there a minute, snow piling on my shoulders, wondering where exactly my life went sideways. Then I trudge back home because I'm not about to die of exposure, arguing with someone who thinks rules are more important than frostbite. I watch her through my window, her SUV slowly disappearing under the snow, the engine running, then eventually dying down. I last maybe 10 minutes before the guilt gets me. Nobody deserves to freeze, not even Patricia. So I pull my boots back on, head out, knock on her window again. She's shivering glass, all fogged up. Patricia, this is ridiculous. Come inside before you get hypothermia. She digs in her heels. Not unless you admit this is your fault and agree to pay for the tow. I tell her, you want to keep this up fine, but I'm not leaving you out here. She relents, sort of. When she finally tries to get out the door, jams on the snowbank, and she ends up face down in the snow, still refusing to take my hand, of course. I help her up. She's got snow in her hair. Boots all wrong for the weather. On the way back to the house, she slips 3 more times and blames me each time for not shoveling. I'm biting my tongue to keep from laughing. If you've never watched someone so in control, totally lose it over a patch of ice, you're missing out. Inside, she's dripping on my floors, scowling at my Christmas decorations. It's January 6th. Decorations should be down by the 5th. I tell her we can table the sheet HOA violations for now. She insists rules exist for a reason. I hand her a towel, make coffee, try to ignore her, while she takes photos of my violations from every angle. She's dead serious, talking about invoices for the tow, documenting my driveway, and preparing some kind of legal case against me while sitting in my living room drinking my coffee, warming up by my fire. I try to explain no court would side with her, not in these conditions. She shrugs it off. We'll let the board decide, which of course is a board she picked. The storm doesn't let up. The governor even declares a state of emergency. Patricia's panic starts to show when she realizes she's stuck here for at least 24 hours. Suddenly, she's got urgent HOA business supposed to do a property inspection for some other poor neighbor. I tell her violations can wait. She argues that they never do. I'm starting to wonder what happened in her life to make her like this. She's always dressed like she's on her way to a board meeting, never lets her hair down. I'd heard rumors she got divorced, kids, don't visit, but who knows. By noon, the power goes out. Patricia gasps like the sky is falling. I tell her I'll fire up the generator. She demands I turn the power back on like I'm holding out on her. When I return, she's pacing the window anxious. Admits she needs her anxiety meds, but she'll be fine. First time she's looked anything but furious since she crashed. Maybe there's a person under all that protocol after all. The day drags. She picks at the lunch I make, barely touches her soup, and spends the afternoon calling other HOA board members. I hear her laying it on thick, blaming me, demanding emergency meetings, building her case. It's actually impressive in a way, the audacity of it all. Around 3, the county plow finally shows up. I talk to the driver, Tom, who adds Patricia's SUV to the extraction list, might be days before it's out. Back inside, Patricia is elbow deep in HOA. Bylaws triumphant when she finds a clause about winter maintenance. But as I read it, I notice it also says homeowners have a reasonable time to clear snow after a storm. She crashes at 6 a.m. Storm's still raging. Doesn't matter to her. She's convinced it's my fault. She keeps calling the board, pushing for fines, for liens, for whatever punishment she can muster. Over the next days, it becomes clear she's not letting this go. 3 days later, I get a violation notice by certified mail. 5 pages demanding $800 for the tow, $500 in fines, threatening legal action. I call a lawyer, Margaret Chen. Smart, dry sense of humor. She laughs when she reads the paperwork. No court would ever uphold this. She tells me to respond formally and wait them out. But it escalates. 2 weeks later, I get a notice HOA is putting a lien on my property. You believe that Margaret says it's overreach, tells me we'll challenge it in court. It'll cost, but she's confident. We gather evidence, weather reports, photos, testimony from other neighbors whose driveways were just as snowed in statements that nobody expects you to shovel during a blizzard. And then something changes. Patricia, in her zeal to make an example of me, starts going after everyone. Robert Martinez, a retired guy, tells me she threatened to fine him $500 for too many dandelions. Sarah gets hit for parking her work van overnight. Stories start piling up. Turns out Patricia's been using the HOA as her own personal fiefdom for years. People are fed up. People are fed. By the time we get to court, I've got half a dozen neighbors willing to testify. Frank Williams, a former board member, even reveals that Patricia rewrote large sections of the covenants without proper approval. That winter maintenance clause, never even voted on. Judge Brennan, Bless her is having none of it. Rules are rules, sure, but reason matters. She throws out the case orders, the lien removed, and makes the HOA pay my legal fees. She even launches an investigation into the HOA's governance. Patricia goes ballistic red in the face, sputtering about rules. But the judge isn't interested. Patricia's grip on the neighborhood snaps overnight. At the next HOA meeting, the place is packed. People are furious. There's yelling accusations. Eventually, a special election is called. Robert runs against her, wins by a landslide. The new board undoes Patricia's rule changes, passes protections against unilateral fines, and generally brings sanity back. And here's the kicker. The investigation finds Patricia's been skimming fines. 15 grand, never deposited, just vanished. She ends up charged with fraud and embezzlement, goes to trial, gets convicted. 18 months in prison plus restitution. All that noise about rules and order, and she was pocketing the money. The neighborhood breathes again. People plant what they want. Christmas lights stay up until whenever. Dogs roam the yards. We have barbecues. The HOA becomes what it should be, background noise, not a constant threat. Sometimes on quiet mornings, I sit on my porch, coffee in hand, watching the snow drift down slow, peaceful, not a hint of blizzard rage. Murphy, my golden retriever, sprawls at my feet. Robert drives by and waves. Sarah stops to chat. Life is normal. I don't even think about shoveling until I feel like it. And I think back to that ridiculous morning, the SUV in my ditch, Patricia fuming in my living room. I wonder what makes someone hold on so tight to control and rules that they lose sight of being human. Maybe she started with good intentions, maybe not. But it got twisted somewhere. In the end, the whole mess taught me something. Sometimes you've got to stand up for yourself, even if it means going through hell first. Rules matter, sure, but only when they make sense. Only when they serve people, not the other way around. And sometimes you've just got to let the snow pile up for a while. It's not the end of the world. So let me ask you this. Where do you draw the line between order and overreach? When does enforcing the rules become its own kind of injustice? Have you ever had to stand up to someone who held all the power just because it was the right thing to do? I'd love to hear your story. Maybe we've all got a little neighborhood legend inside us, just waiting for the next blizzard to bring it out.